Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Glenn. I'm Glenn. Today we're going back to basics. We'll just be going over 3 very common, very simple yoga poses. I'll give a little bit of meaning to each, some modifications. So hop into something comfy, hop on your mat, and let's go. If you could also like the video, subscribe to the channel, it really helps and I really appreciate it. So our first pose today is Sukhasana, or easy pose, easy seated cross-legged pose. Sukha means ease or comfort, and asana means pose. So to get in this pose, be crisscross applesauce style, if you remember that from school. Sit back on your hip bones. Now the proper way to do this, or what should happen in proper yoga terms, is the knees should be all the way on the ground. I can't get there. I also have tight hips. And if you have tight hips, that's okay too. If we drive a lot, we sit a lot, either at a desk, couch, whatever it may be. We're always sitting. So we have tight muscles here in the inner thighs. We have underactive glutes, and we have tight hip flexors. So to alleviate this, you can, instead of crossing your legs, you can put one leg closer to the thigh, closer to the center area, and you can bring the other foot out in front. That's one variation. Another, which is most basic and if kind of just regular crisscross applesauce style, but if this is where you're at, that's okay. There's other kind of variations of this pose, but if you're basically here and that's all you are, that's fine. To modify this a little bit, you can grab a prop. Either if you have a bolster, you can use that. If you have yoga blocks, like I do, you can use those. I highly recommend getting a pair of blocks. It'll help a lot with different postures that we'll be doing. But sit on the edge of the bolster. And ideally, if you're sitting on the ground on your butt, your knees should be splayed all the way out like this. So if you're not there, that's fine. We can use props for now. This asana is used for meditation and a lot of pranayamas. And for proper alignment, your hips will be open, your spine will be tall, chin will be level, chest slightly up. And there's various hand mudras you can take here. You can place your hands on the knees just like this. You can flip your palms and do various mudras with your fingers, whatever feels the best for you. You can have your hands at heart center, which is an Anjali mudra. You can fold the hands, place them in the lap. But ideally, you want to hold this pose for extended periods of time for meditation and for pranayama practices or breathing practices. In this pose is actually the pose that you want to end up in, and then what all other asanas are used for is to end up in this pose easily and for extended periods of time. So we practice everything else just to end up here in the easy seated cross-legged position. So it says easy, but it's not so easy if you have tight hips or other ailments bothering you. My yoga teacher had a good analogy for a lot of poses. So there's a lot of work going on that you can't see. Like I'm actively working to keep my hips open. My spine is tall, chin level. So it's like a duck on the water. You see the duck just floating across the water, nice and easy. But under the surface, there's a lot of work going on with the duck's feet just swimming along. So a lot of these poses are like that. There's a lot of work going on, but it may look easy on the outside. Our next pose is called Tadasana, or mountain pose. It's also referred to as Samastiti, is the standing pose, upright steadiness. Tada means mountain, and asana, again, means pose. So to get into that one, it's, again, like that duck in the water. There's a lot more to it than just standing. So the Iyengar style, which is a form of yoga, says to stand with feet together, hands out like this, or palms facing in with fingers extended. But I feel since our hip bones actually are here and not, located centrally, I feel like it's better to stand a feet hip width apart. That way our leg bones are straight down. So it's a lot more than just standing upright. There's evenness in the balls and the heel of the feet, not standing forward or too far back. The thighs are flexed, so imagine pulling your thigh muscle up and in towards the hamstrings. Your hips are not swayed back and forth. They're level, not tailbone tucked, not back rounded. So imagine your hips, the pelvis is like a bowl, so you don't want to spill the water in that bowl. So keep the hips nice and aligned, all while still keeping pressure in the feet. We're still flexing those thigh muscles, keeping this level. The stomach, belly button in and up, if you can imagine that. The ribs knit down. Hands again at the side, either like this, or you can palms towards the center. Energy in the fingers. The shoulders are back and down, but still spread. So there's some space in the back of the heart space, and the chest. So there's front, chest spread, so there's room in front of the heart space. Chin level, and your drishti or your gaze is forward and slightly up. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot just more than just standing. Again, like that duck in the water. You see it from the side profile. Again, feet, even pressure in the balls and the heels of the feet. The thigh, imagining pressing against the bone, in and up. Just basically flexing the thighs. So your stomach, belly button in and up. Your ribs down and even. Also pelvis, not sticking out like that, not tailbone tucked, but nice and even. Again, imagine it just as a bowl of water. Stomach, ribs, shoulders are back and down, and then your shoulder blades are spread. You can see what that looks like. Back, down, and spread. That way there's space across the back. And then openness in the chest for the heart space. Chin is nice and level. And again, your drishti or your gaze is forward and just slightly up. So again, duck in the water. It may look easy. It may look like I'm just standing, but there's a lot of work to it. For our third and our final pose today, we'll be doing downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adho meaning downward, Mukha meaning face, and Swan, it's spelled Svan with a SV, means dog, and asana meaning pose. So Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. So to get there, ideally from the ground, you can do it from table posture, and you press your hips up, extending the legs, and ideally, eventually you want to get there to where your heels are touching the ground. I can't get there yet, but ideally one day you want to get there. Your legs want to be straight, but if we're doing a downward dog, and I often say this in the practice, if it's our first dog, we can bend the knees slightly. But imagine you're pressing through your hands, your head is hanging, your chest is back towards your thighs. Ideally, your legs straight and your heels touching the ground. If you're not there, that's okay. And imagine there's a string tied around your hips, and it's pulling your hips up towards the sky. Now, there's a little trick with your hands you can do. Instead of having your hands straight, you can turn them out to where this little pocket between your thumb and index finger is facing forward. And that will rotate your shoulders outward, so there's more space in between your shoulders, in between the shoulders and the ears. So instead of like this, I can turn them out like this, and there's more space. So as you're in this, you're in your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. You got your hands turned out to where your thumb pockets are facing forward. Space between the shoulders and the ears, head hanging, chest pushing back towards the thighs. And those thighs are active and engaged just like in Tadasana, mountain pose. Ideally, one day, get that heel to the ground. If not, that's completely okay. And then again, that string, pulling your hip towards the sky. And this is our ideal Adho Mukha Svanasana. Oh, also one more thing. Your back should be a straight line from your back down to the ground. So we're not rounded like this, we're not like this. Ideally, a flat back, one line, and you're making a 90-degree angle with your body. Downward facing dog is actually considered somewhat of an inversion because your hips go over your head. Inversions meaning like handstands, headstands, things like that. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully this clears things up, and hopefully in the future while you're practicing with me, you'll be able to work on these different things and these postures to perfect them, and eventually hopefully your hips can open up enough to help with that. That's why we do things like lunges, either high lunge, low lunge to open up the hips. We do butterfly pose to open up the hips. And you can do these on your own too outside of this practice. And even massages help with that, either some self-massage or going out somewhere to get a massage. But massaging this inner thighs, massaging the tops of the thighs will all help loosen, and you'll be able to open your hips more. And eventually, in your Sukhasana, you'll be able to get those knees closer to the ground. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, and hopefully in the future this will help you with these asanas or these poses. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.